Now, last time I spoke to you about engaging spirits of the departed in helping with their guides to create a more harmonic, yes, harmonic, you say, energy for beings on this earth, and supporting a more benevolent harmony between worlds. Now, this is not a harmony that is intended to insulate and protect so much as it is intended to attract. Not to attract you to suddenly move on, but rather to help to ease the way between all life, so there is recognition from one form of life to another that all forms of life are equals. Now, on earth, in the times you have known, historical times as well that you have some frame of reference to, you know that you don't, as a rule, remember who you are, where you've been, what you've done, and so on in other lives. But the time is coming now, for many of you in your lifetimes, when you will have that recollection. Sometimes it will come, though, not just in a dream, as often happens, but sometimes it will come with an encounter with another form of life. I'm not talking about ETs here, though that time will come, and I'll talk to you about that soon. I'm talking about the forms of life that you have on the planet that you don't often think about as being equals. All other beings on the planet besides humans, all forms of life, are ensouled, or they couldn't be here. That's right. Creator does not create anything that is not made up out of Creator itself, which automatically means that they are ensouled. I know that many of your philosophies and beliefs suggest that only humans are ensouled, but that's not the way. And since these other beings, animals you call them, plants, and so on, stone, yes. Since these other beings are also ensouled, you have a means to communicate. You will find, as I have said not too long ago, that there may be moments with animals these days where one will just stop, or in the case of a bird, alight on something, and will look pointedly at you. Now, if a human being did that, you might look around to see if they're looking at something else. But you will get a feeling that they are looking right at you. And you'll get that feeling that you might get with a dog or a cat or even a small child who cannot communicate well, that they're trying to say something to you. Now, I know many of you have already had that experience. When that happens, if you can, not if you're operating machinery, not if you're driving your car, all right? But if it's safe, close your eyes for a moment, just for a moment, and see if you get a picture, all right? If you get a picture, then just say, you might be riding in a car and off you go, or a train or something. But just say to yourself, you might have to whisper if others are around and you don't want to be embarrassed, that's all right. Describe out loud in a whisper or in a spoken word what it was that you saw. The reason you do this is that it helps to remember it in greater detail. Because these days you are living much more in the moment, that's what this means, than you have in the past. So living in the moment means that very often you don't recall things as well as you once did. All right? So speak it, and then later on when you get a chance, record it if you have a memo maker, or write down some notes or type up something. And then ask, before you go to sleep at night, if you can dream about it and remember it in the morning. All right? Animals are going to help to remind you about who you are, where you're from, why you're here, what you've been doing, and its significance, sometimes you don't know, and what you might have done in previous lives. Not to remind you of things that you did that you regretted, but rather just a quick glimpse, a picture. All right? We'll talk more about that soon. I wanted to bring it up because the equality of all life is not simply about philosophy. It is also about helping each other. Good life.